to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low around 48. Tuesday, a chance for rain with a high near 65. And Wednesday, partly cloudy with a high near 71.
This is Angela Warner with Warner Stellian. If you've got a broken appliance or one you wish would break, don't settle for poor selection and don't pay a penny more than you should. Warner Stellian has thousands of in-stock appliances, plus save an extra 5%. Shop now at warnerstellian.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Katagita, all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade, which means distant thunder in the Ho-Chunk language. We discuss local and national Native news and events, and as you know, Wendy, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Native Roots Trading Post, located at 700 Nicollet Mall in downtown Minneapolis. We're on the first floor of the Dayton's building, and we support Native American artists.
Yes, we do. Hey, Wen, another shooting.
I'm sickened. I'm just really sickened.
Yeah. All right.
The thing that gets me, I'm sorry to interrupt you, is that 18-year-old white male. If it was the other way around and it was an 18-year-old African American kid doing this, he would have been shot dead right on the spot. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Exactly. Really interesting comment. The security guard, who was African American, a former decorated police officer, tried to shoot him, and he had Kevlar bulletproof stuff on.
Yeah. He had body armor. Yeah. Body armor. Crazy.
I mean, where can you get body armor?
I guess you could buy it on the internet. You could buy anything these days. Anything you want, you can buy. There's somebody selling it.
Well, I know. It's like, when is this going to end?
It's not going to end.
Right. And then, the Democrats and the Republicans. I mean,
we need gun reform. End of story.
Right. Well, and I'm all about hunting and all that, but who needs an AR-15 to hunt?
Apparently.
Right. And then parents out there and people, I mean, this kid was already spewing out racist stuff that he was going to shoot people in his school, and they let him go. Yeah. Parents buying him guns for presents. And I mean, we really,
and then there was a shooting at a church, and I'm sorry, I don't even know and then this morning, I think there was some shootings in New York City. So yeah, it doesn't end. And you know what? I think we've really become numb to it because it happens so often. It's just like, oh, another shooting, another shooting, another shooting. And it's just like, it's everyday occurrence.
Right.
And nobody's shocked by it anymore.
Well, not only that, Wendy, the other side of that too is the people doing a lot of the people, or most of the people doing the shooting. This was a race all
absolutely.
The way, and they're afraid that that the white people are going to be no longer number one in attendance here in the United States, and that's too bad. And I mean, the rhetoric that these fake news places like Fox News
they better think about that when they want to overturn Roe versus Wade, because you know what? All the rich white people are going to be able to go get abortions. Guess what babies are going to be born if they overturn? So they really better rethink their thinking.
Well, and I always say too, with our white allies, of course, we outnumber these crazies, these Republicans that are tootin' gun tootin' toting people.
Well, November, we got to vote in November.
We really,
primaries.
Really do. I mean, we have to rock.
You have
the
to
vote.
Ignite everybody who you need to talk to, and ignite them and tell them what's going on if they don't know.
And not forget.
And
not forget, I think we have a quick attention span now.
Very quick.
Next thing, we're on to the next thing, and
Exactly.
then it's formula, and then it's gas prices, and then
it's Biden's fault. There
Twitter.
isn't any baby formula too.
Right,
so
exactly.
we better get to Gina.
Yeah, you're right, Wendy. Hey, we all are so happy to have Gina on. Gina is stepping in for Ogama, who's on leave again, but she's got some family issues in California, and she's out there helping her family, which she does a really good job doing.
Yeah.
So let's go to Gina with the news. Welcome, Gina, and thank you so much for doing what you do.
Oh, thank you so much, Robert and Wendy. Really, this is stuff that needs to be heard. And like we saw with last year, I personally firsthand saw law enforcement violently arrest peaceful water protectors while they were in ceremony, and that's our church. So it's just, here we are, peaceful water protectors getting tased, getting shot at with rubber bullets while peacefully praying, and we have all these atrocities going around the United States. I mean, it stems from somewhere, you guys. And quite honestly, I'm more interested in fixing our relationship with law enforcement and holding them a little more accountable for being the leaders they're supposed to be and being an example to what, we're supposed to do in a good way. So, thank you so much for bringing attention to this. Before, we run out of time, there are a few things I want to bring up just as I have everyone's attention. And thank you so much for being here, everyone, and for caring. So moving on forward, I just want to make sure I get this out. Currently, the Indian Collective, Indian is NDN Collective, Indian Collective, is engaged in the planning and design phase of the Collective Abundance Fund, slated to disperse nearly $50 million to Native individuals and families across Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota in 2023. The fund is expected to address the wealth gap in Native communities across the tri-state region and to redefine what wealth means on Indigenous terms. They anticipate this fund will support homeownership, education, and business and entrepreneurship. Yet, they also envision that the fund would resource individuals and families and direct support reimagined wealth-building activities that uplift the Indigenous lifeways and livelihoods of our families and their rights to live in the wellness and safety and contentment. So the Indian Collective is asking you to start re-envisioning along with them so that they can redefine wealth on our own terms and go beyond just the economic characteristics of monetary wealth and financial comforts. So the Indian Collective is working with a Native-owned consulting firm, Kaufman and Associate Inc., to engage with individuals and families across the tri-state region of North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota. They are putting out this survey. They're asking you to take this survey. And the survey focuses on understanding ways that this funding can provide resources to the individuals and families in order to build a life of abundance. So responses from this survey will help with the design of the Collective Abundance Fund, with the funds to be dispersed in early 2023. So please take this survey. And once you do, you can be entered for a drawing for up to a $50 gift card. I did take the survey. It only took me about 10 minutes, but I really did put thought about my responses. I did opt out on partaking of the $50 card drawing. That's okay, though, because I think there's plenty of other good people out there who could use it. So I am going to be dropping the link to this survey and to the page that will lay all this out for you in the chat. And you can visit the indiancollective.org also to find more. And again, Indian Collective is ndncollective.org. So go ahead and visit their page to check that out. And you guys, speaking of surveys, I participated in a Native American COVID-19 Alliance assessment survey last year done by the Indigenous Wellness Research Institute, the National Center of Excellence, and I won a prize, you guys. So that's why I'm all about people taking surveys. And then I want to show you, I won this beautiful Woodlands floral throw blanket. So I'm just going to throw it up here real quick.
Oh, that's very nice.
Wow.
Yeah, and that survey also only took me 10 minutes. And they also sent me cards. Thank you cards. that I
Oh.
can use and give as gifts as well. So, I'm all about people taking surveys and helping out, but when you can win prizes, hey, why not? And here's a good example. I got a beautiful blanket. So what do you guys think about all that?
Well, Gina and Wendy, you know I'm all about prizes and free T-shirts and things like that. So I'm gonna go take that survey.
If it's free, it's for Robert.
Yeah. Hey, up next, Gina, stick around. We'll catch back up with you and maybe talk about some few more things later on the show. But up next, we have we're going to talk about jobs in the Minneapolis school system and district. So we're going to talk heavily with Sierra. We'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me, Wen. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
When we heal from our traumas,
when we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
when we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, Olgama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Even though things are getting better, COVID-19 is still around and a threat to our public health. To best protect yourself, make sure you continue to wear masks in high-traffic areas like concerts, sporting events, or crowded indoor buildings. Wearing masks can help prevent severe illness and reduce the strain on our hospitals and healthcare workers. Wear a mask with the best fit, protection, and comfort for you. This message is brought to you by the Native American Community Clinic. Find more COVID information by calling 651-304-9986.
Bijou, I am Oshawashko Gijig. I'm from Red Lake Nation, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
This portion of the show is brought to you by MN350, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice.
Well, Wendy, we're super excited today to have Sierra on, and Sierra Bernal, and she's a recruitment coordinator for the Minneapolis Public Schools. And you know me, I used to be a former teacher, and so I'm excited.
In St. Paul.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I'm excited to have her on for one, and also the opportunities that are out there. And she's a recruitment coordinator for the Minneapolis Public Schools. And I want to say, thank you so much for stopping in and being on.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I know we've been talking recently, and one of the things is there's different jobs opening in Minneapolis with different varies of skill sets. And can we talk about those?
Yes. So Minneapolis Public Schools Human Resources Department is hosting a career expo on Thursday, June 16th, where we will have hiring managers from all of our departments, all of our high priority departments. So custodian, so our plant operations department, culinary wellness, classroom support, transportation. A lot of these positions only require a high school diploma or GED, and we really are looking to hire community members that are a true reflection of our student body. Diverse talent that can come into our buildings, whether you're in the classroom, in the kitchen, driving a school bus, that represents MPS.
Wow, that's great. And one of the things too, I know we have a lot of people listening, and I always tell Wendy, because I'm a retired school teacher, I will probably go back someday, maybe 4 years after I'm done with my other job as an elected official, and go back as a para
That'd
because
be
I miss
great.
kid. You know what I mean? I mean, we got to think outside the box.
Yeah, and I mean, you may not want to be a teacher for the responsibility of being a teacher, but you did that for so many years, and now that
Right.
you're retired, you can go back as a para and help out, which is unbelievable to have support staff in the classroom.
Right, with
Yeah.
experience. So calling all former teachers too, because they come on back into the circle, as we say in the native way. Come back.
Yes, we need you. We are looking to hire. Right now, we have like 36 custodian positions available. And we want to hire community members. And so if you're looking for a new career in any of the departments that I mentioned, custodian, transportation, classroom support, culinary wellness, we want you to apply. Our employment website is jobs.mpls.k12.mn.us. And then again, on that Thursday, June 16th, you can come and see us at the Davis Center and come hear about jobs, talk directly to hiring managers. We're doing on-the-spot interviews. We're helping people with their resume and cover letters and helping them apply for positions. So we want you guys to come out because we want to hire you.
That's awesome. And Wendy, you remember my father, he was a long retired custodial engineer in St. Paul Public Schools too. And it's a great career. And especially if you can get that boiler license, you can make I mean, it's a great career. It really is.
One thing that MPS offers for the custodian is we offer 2 times a year a training to get that boiler's license, because we know how much of an increase your salary is once you get that boiler's license. So MPS offers a boiler's license training 2 times a year to our entry-level custodians, so that we can get them that boiler's license and they can just not have a job with MPS, but a career to, sustain them.
My father retired as a custodial engineer and lived a long time after that, and a nice retirement, through para. Alice has a question we just see. My question is about part-time work for ESL and other classroom support. She's a low-income senior in the queer community. That's something, full-time and part-time, Sierra?
Yes. We have part-time positions in all of the departments that I mentioned and full-time positions. It's very flexible. If you're looking to work within the classroom, tons of part-time positions available right now. So yes, we're really flexible with scheduling as of right now.
And I know too, healthcare is always an issue wherever you work and however you work. And I know Minneapolis has really good healthcare. That's a thing to really key in on too.
Yes, we have healthcare through United Healthcare and dental through Delta Dental. MPS has great benefit packages, and our contracts are renewed, and so we have tons of new benefits for our new staff due to our contracts being new. So for our drivers, we have a $3,000 sign-on bonus when you become an MPS school bus driver. If you don't have a CDL license, MPS offers a drivers in training program to help you get that CDL. Then there's a 40-hour-a-week job waiting for you with that $3,000 sign-on bonus. For our classroom support positions, about a month ago, their starting rate was $18 an hour, and now we're at $23 an hour.
Nice.
Yes, and so a huge jump. If you don't have the 60 college credit for some of those classroom support positions, MPS offers a Para-Pro exam. So if you have that high school diploma or GED, you can take the Para-Pro exam with MPS, and we can get you into one of those classroom support positions. And then our food service positions, about a month ago, their starting wage was 15 and now it's 18. So huge jump and increase on these hourly positions. And we have part-time, full-time positions with great incentives and great benefits.
Well, I know you see one of the things is that it's a 10-month contract, but there's also summer school sessions too, and you can really up your salary too if you want to work the whole 10 months.
There are
Well,
so many opportunities to expand, that 10-month contract or even do more work during those 10 months, not just your normal classroom or transportation or whatever you do. You can become a coach. There's tons of after school programs that you can do. And like you said, summer school positions, we need classroom support. We still need food service, staff for the summer. So you can extend it all year round.
I know over the years there's people that were students at the U and other schools that were doing the bus driving, and we were fitting it around their schedule, because I think there's a few hours on and a few hours off that you can do some
Yes.
other things and come back, right?
Yes. So that transportation position is extremely flexible, part-time and full-time positions, and you're not constantly driving. Sometimes you are, depending on what your route is, but you're not always driving all throughout the day. So it's very flexible where you can work, go back to school, do something else, and come back and do that afternoon shift. So depending on what your lifestyle is, NPS is very flexible with making the careers work best for you.
And we're in Madison and Milwaukee and Chicago too. And if anyone's thinking about moving into the Twin Cities, what a great way. Give that address again.
Yeah, and I just looked it up. I just Googled Minneapolis public school jobs, and it came up.
Yes.
Minneapolis public school jobs, and it popped right up, and it has all the opportunities and all the jobs that are available.
So if you are looking to move to the Twin Cities, we would love to have you join the NPS teams, jobs.mpls.k12.mn.us. My information is on the website if you have questions about applying, if you have questions about other opportunities within NPS. Part of my position as a recruiter is to bring people in, bring talent into NPS to work, but also to help retain the staff that we have and create career pathways for them to expand their career so that they have longevity.
That's a really good point, because I started as a paraprofessional and went back to school and got my license. And then the last 14 years of working in St. Paul Public Schools, I was as a teacher. And then my retirement was connected with my para and my teaching, and it turned out really nice.
That's I'm glad you brought that up, because that's something that we really try to do within NPS is if you're coming in and you're doing some classroom support positions and you're like, you know what, I really see myself being a teacher. How can I get from point A to point B? We have a residency program. We partnered with the University of St. Thomas where we offer this fast track residency program to help you go from that classroom support to being a classroom teacher very quickly. There's a stipend attached to it so that we can help you in that career pathway. Just like that boiler's license training, you go from a custodian to a custodian senior with us, getting that boiler's license training. You can even work in transportation and start out as a school bus driver and say, you know what, I really see myself being a dispatch manager. How can I go from one to the other? Part of my job is to help you connect those dots and help navigate you from one career to the next, but also staying within NPS because, like I said, we want to retain you. We want to keep you.
Wow, that's really exciting. And this is like fairly new and really exciting. Wow. Let's talk about, we only got like a minute left. Can we talk a little bit more about the June 16th? And I want to get you back on before June 16th again to talk about this.
So come and visit, come and see us, come apply, come and get hired. On Thursday, June 16th at the Davis Center, 1250 West Broadway Avenue North. We will have hiring managers there for custodians, for culinary wellness, classroom support, transportation, health services. We're going to have free haircuts there. We're going to help you apply for jobs, and we're going to hire on the spot. June 16th, the Davis Center, 1250 West Broadway. I'm Sierra Bernal. You can contact me. My information is on our website, jobs.mpls.k12.mn.us.
Wow, perfect. And we're going to have you on again a couple more times because this is important. This is so important. Thank you so much for being on, Sierra.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back.
Stay with us.
Navigating COVID while protecting yourself can be difficult.
Fortunately, there's a hotline you can call with any questions. The Department of Indian Work St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on vaccines, booster shots, and testing sites. Right now, booster shots are available to anyone over the age of 18 for those who are eligible. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline can also help with housing, food, medical, and educational support. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19, vaccinations, booster shots, or testing, please call 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Are you nervous to go to your mailbox and see one more past due mortgage bill? You could qualify for financial assistance through Home Help MN if you have fallen behind on your mortgage payments due to the pandemic. This Minnesota housing program even has money available to help with other past due mortgage-related expenses. Learn more at homehelpmn.org or call 1-800-388-3226.
If you live in South Minneapolis in the Midtown Phillips neighborhood, you're invited to a community meeting that takes place on Tuesday, May 17th. Summer can bring warmer weather, but also increased crime. And the Midtown Phillips Neighborhood Association wants to make sure that you and your neighbors stay safe. That's why they're having a community discussion on summer safety on Tuesday, May 17th at 6:30 p.m. Visit midtownphillips.org for updated agendas and a link to join the meeting on Zoom. That's midtownphillips.org.
Hi, this is Desi Doyen of the Green News Report and the Bradcast. You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
It's an absolute must for any true foodie. Vinaigrette at 50th and Xerxes in South Minneapolis offers premium oils and vinegars for the most discriminating of tastes. This is Sarah Piepenberg, owner of Vinaigrette. We bottle on-site, there's no guesswork, and you get to taste test each and every oil and vinegar we offer. Our direct relationship with the growers ensures an uncompromised level of satisfaction. When you need to know you're cooking with the finest ingredients, first contact the independently owned Vinaigrette, 50th and Xerxes in South Minneapolis. Online at vinaigrettemn.com.
Ron Casa Construction in Elko New Market reminds us, if you're planning to drink at a party, spend the night or turn your keys over to a designated driver. Every time you take to the roads, you should drive defensively, cautiously, and, most of all, soberly. This reminder from Ron Casa Construction in Elko New Market, the premier concrete contractor in Scott County that offers general remodeling and construction services. Give them a call at 612-978-7254.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low around 48, Tuesday a chance for rain with a high near 65, and Wednesday partly cloudy with a high near 71. Come visit the award-winning Hazel's Northeast in Minneapolis for breakfast, lunch, dinner, or weekend brunch. For breakfast, try the slow-cooked brisket hash, hippie cakes, and meat waffle, while for lunch, enjoy favorites like the veggie burger or beet salad. Located off 29th and Johnson and at hazelsnetogo.com.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Yeah, I know Gina's ready to move down here to the Twin Cities to get a job at the Minneapolis Public Schools. I could see that. That's awesome.
I mean, I think that it was really exciting to hear her. And I love the fact that there's so many opportunities. Like you could start out at the ground level and, make your way up. So that's great that there's room for improvement and opportunities.
And guidance.
Yes.
I think that's one of the things, too, that I think is pretty exciting about that is that they'll help you And,
move along. Yeah.
I think years ago it was a big secret. No one
Mhm.
wanted you to be better than them. And so Minneapolis has really taken the bull by the horns and
Yeah.
are helping their workers to,
Mhm.
and then by doing that, they'll work there forever.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
Love it.
Gina, I know Wendy and I we're talking a lot because we're just like having a conversation about what's happening in the world. Do you have any more news that that you could bring up, or by any chance? And if not, that's fine. We can talk it out.
Yeah, I got a lot more news going on. Do you mind if I go for it?
We love
Go-
it. Go
go.
ahead.
Yeah. Well, you guys, I do work with Honor the Earth. I'm a project developer and super grateful that they hired me on when they did. Especially, during the middle of the frontline battle of Line 3. And, Honor the Earth is such a huge advocate for environmental rights. And environmental rights are human rights, because as long as the environment's being taken care of, we're being taken care of. So, thank you, Honor the Earth, for fighting hard for all of us and all our clean water. And since I bring up Honor the Earth, I do have a few events coming up and a few things I do want to mention. The Huber Mill event that was scheduled to happen this Thursday in Duluth has been canceled, but water protectors are working hard to reschedule and form more informational events to bring awareness to this devastating project that will cause deadly pollution in Minnesota. And that's another example of people being in power and abusing their power. This Huber Mill, which is going to make particle board, is just going to be completely toxic for the environment and really deadly for the citizens in the surrounding area and all of Minnesota. With the coal plant nearby, the construction and operation of this plant, the pollution mixed together will cause acid rain, and with the deforestation of that they want to cause, it will just make complete havoc upon this. So, I just, again, thanks Honor the Earth and MM350 and Native Roots Radio for being really concerned about these issues. These are really deadly issues at hand, and we really need to take a stand for that. And then I want to bring another thing to Minnesota landowners. Your voice needs to be heard. Landowners, especially along Enbridge's new Line 3 that runs 337 miles across northern Minnesota, and it is threatening nearly half of North America's freshwater. We urge you to contact the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission, the PUC, about its proposal to set up an abandoned pipeline trust fund so that they or their heirs are not at risk for when the pipeline is decommissioned and abandoned, which, according to Enbridge, will happen within the next 20 to 30 years. The risks of abandoning the new 36-inch diameter pipeline include sinkholes, road collapses, uncontrolled water drainage, soil erosion, and residual contamination, of all which could harm landowners and their lands. The risks and costs could be substantial. And, I just want to bring up another prime example. When we occupied that Enbridge easement in the beginning of June last year and successfully stopped construction for 8 days in a very peaceful ceremony. And I'm appreciative that law enforcement stuck to their guns and recognized our rights to be there. They did not break our constitutional rights that time. But after that happening, Enbridge fracked out into that very same area. So for those 8 days, I was there for the full 8 days, and I drank the water out of the Mississippi River, and I swam in the Mississippi River, and so many people and so many children. And after they fracked out, they just caused so much destruction and poisoning that there's no more fish in that area. Within a few weeks of them fracking out, we saw fish develop blisters. And then now there's just no more that like wildlife in that area. And recently, just driving by that area, you can see the contaminants in that water. It is a little flooded in that area, so the water is all around, but it doesn't look like the normal water that we have in our area. And so we really need to step it up here. Everyone, landowners, just natural citizens. I mean, the Mississippi flows all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico, and that affects so many people. Like, people tell me 8 million people, but I believe it's more than that, and with water being a commodity on Wall Street now, it's just, can we not go after our water and poison our water just for the sake of people making money off the scarcity of it? So thanks again, guys, for letting me bring awareness to these issues. But I will be dropping that link that you can submit comments to the PUC about that issue of developing that trust fund, so people don't have to worry about having those costs come out of their own pockets when all that destruction will happen when that is abandoned. But I'll drop that link in the chat, and then also the link to the event I mentioned above are both on Honor the Earth's Facebook page and other social media. So now is the time we need to make the drastic changes. And if we want to save ourselves, the world will continue to live, but the irreversible effects of climate change will be inevitable. And if we don't make change now, we do have the capability and the resources to make this happen. We all need to take a stand and get the correct people in government who will actually care about everybody and not just the few making billions of dollars off of unnecessary suffering. But speaking of making changes, there are many water protectors who have court this Thursday, May 19th, at the Aiken County Courthouse in Aiken, Minnesota. The court hearings are scheduled all throughout the day, starting at 9 a.m. Some of us will be showing up with breakfast starting at 8:30 a.m. to be there in support of our brave water protectors who risked their lives and their freedom. As we've seen, law enforcement really did have fun beating on us while arresting us. I mean, what is it? A couple weeks ago, we just had court for 3 water protectors who were arrested for hugging each other. They saw law enforcement coming towards them, and they knew that law enforcement was going to mess with them. So they just thought they'd give each other hugs for moral support. And law enforcement just rolled up and arrested these men who were legally standing in a ditch, and they arrested them for trespassing. And, we're asking those charges to be dropped, because who gets arrested for hugging their friends? I guess water protectors. Yeah. I was arrested for praying. Those charges were dropped, though. So
thank goodness. Gina and Wendy, it's just crazy because what we talked about earlier.
Charges were dropped. It's still a scary thing, and it's still a violation against you.
And not only that, what I was going to say, Wen and Gina, was that, we talked about earlier in the show of what happened, with this Buffalo shooting. And we saw footage of this guy basically with handcuffs on and gently put into a cop car, and he killed 10 BIPOC African-American people. And so there lies the difference of what you're talking about, Gina.
Yeah, not to mention when law enforcement tased me when I was peacefully sitting on the floor. I was no threat to no one, and I don't believe in violence. And I'm grateful that was on camera. Otherwise, I'm afraid that law enforcement would have tried to say something else and not drop the charges and keep me in jail for longer. That's always a possibility. Leonard Peltier, so it's just, I'm grateful, that, we do have social media around, and we have great people like you to spread the good word. So
yeah. And it's important information that you give us from the deep north, because again, we're in Chicago and Wisconsin, and they're dealing with Line 5 that's coming around the corner, and learn from what's happened, good or bad, here in Minnesota with Line 3. There's a lot to be learned, right, Gina?
Yeah, I mean, it's really scary what they did to us up here. I mean, I saw my sisters violently drug out of ceremony and arrested. So it's just, law enforcement were really brutal with us up here. And it's really scary to think of what Wisconsin law enforcement will do to them, and it's just, I'm keeping them in my prayers, and I just want to get all the information out there just to prepare them for what's ahead of them, or what's possibly ahead of them. Could still stop Line 5 and stop the flow of Line 3. You never know. I keep praying every day for it.
Right. And I think something that you said earlier, Gina, too, and Wendy, it's like the planet will always still be here. It's us that will be extinct. So we're the last line of defense as water protectors and Native Americans in this land. And we ask people to join us, our white allies and all our BIPOC allies, to join us. This is about Mother Earth and the human race, not just the Native American race, but we are boots on the ground, as Gina has said many times.
Yeah, and that's why I'm really grateful that we are able to have these drop the charges and support court events, because going through the court system is so scary, especially being arrested when you shouldn't have been arrested, when being arrested was violating your own rights, and you're just peacefully taking a stand for everybody's water. And it's just so, I'm grateful we have these events, like we're having on Thursday, and everyone's showing up and supporting each other. And it makes going through the court system a little bit easier, because none of us know what's ahead of us. None of us went to law school. We weren't even taught in high school what to expect when having to face the court system. So it's just, we're really grateful we have that support system set up within our movement.
Wow, Gina, I'm going to leave this soon, but that was kind of just an amazing connect the dots thing that you just said. Is that the fear of first being arrested wrongly, then you don't know if they're going to put you in jail wrongly, and that's totally
Very
frightful.
scary, yeah.
Yeah, wow. I mean, that's connecting the dots, Gina.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and with growing up with the last name Peltier, I'm fully well aware of what could happen when you speak for your people. And it's just, you can't let them scare you into not speaking up just so they can continue their havoc, like with Line 3, with Line 5, with the Huber Mill project. It's like, when will this destruction end? With the MMIW, it's like, we just want to be peaceful people. That's why we signed the treaties. We understand that they needed to be free, and we wanted them to be free, and we wanted us to be free, and we wanted to live as good neighbors. And it's just sad that they are trying to continue this awful war.
Wow, well put, Gina. Thanks for sticking around. I hope you can stick around and howl with us too before you have to go. We really appreciate your insight into more news.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, you're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm Robert Pilot, and we'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
Minneapolis Public Schools wants to hire you. They have a variety of positions to start your career. You can work in the classroom as a teacher or classroom support, or work outside the classroom as a bus driver, in the culinary wellness department to help prepare nutritious meals, or keeping the building safe and sanitized as a custodian. Bilingual, bicultural candidates encouraged to apply. Start your career in education and apply today at jobs.minneapolis.k12.mn.us.
Hey, Olgama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
If you live in South Minneapolis in the Midtown Phillips neighborhood, you're invited to a community meeting that takes place on Tuesday, May 17th. Summer can bring warmer weather, but also increased crime, and the Midtown Phillips Neighborhood Association wants to make sure that you and your neighbors stay safe. That's why they're having a community discussion on summer safety on Tuesday, May 17th at 6:30 p.m. Visit midtownphillips.org for updated agendas and a link to join the meeting on Zoom. That's midtownphillips.org.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
I always put that up there. Hey, I want to introduce my awesome and beautiful wife, Wendy. Wendy Pilot's been an animal advocate for many years, and we talk about our sacred animals, which are relatives here almost every day here for almost 5 years on Native Roots Radio. And I learn a lot from you, Wendy, and I can't wait to hear what you have for us today. So
Yeah, well, I
welcome.
have some good news. But hi, everybody. My name is Hanaji Hihani. That means cares for them. And I was given that name by my Dega Curtis.
Oh.
Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. I'm a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level. And it's always my pleasure to do that. And I have some good news today. So the Iowa Greyhound Park in Dubuque, Iowa, closed this weekend for the last race ever.
Wow.
So no more dog racing in Iowa.
That's
Greyhound Park in Dubuque, Iowa.
About time.
Yeah. So this has been like a really long fight for many, many years. And I just have some background information on dog racing, which is greyhound racing here in the United States. So at the end of the 1980s, there were more than 60 greyhound racetracks in 19 states around the country. By the mid-1990s, greyhound racing was in decline across America because of gambling enthusiasts. They had new options as more states approved casino gambling, and animal welfare advocates began to focus public attention on the treatment and mistreatment of the dogs who raced. Attendance and revenue at the tracks declined both nationwide and in Iowa. A third dog track in Waterloo closed in 1994 after 7 years of racing. States that had greyhound racing began banning it, citing concerns about animal welfare. By 2018, there were only 17 tracks left in the country, 11 of which were in Florida, the state that first legalized greyhound racing in 1931. Florida voters overwhelmingly approved constitutional amendment banning dog racing after 2021. So Florida's done.
Wendy, I don't know if you know this, but there was a big dog race track in Hudson for years, and
Really?
they closed that. Yeah, before you
Wow.
came here.
How long ago do you think they closed that?
Oh,
That dog
at
house?
least 20 some years,
Oh,
right?
really? Okay.
Because you never heard of it.
I've never
And-
did.
Yeah.
No. Wow. So after the closure of the Florida tracks, there were only 4 left in the United States, 1 in West Memphis, Arkansas, 2 in West Virginia, and now the Iowa Greyhound Park in Dubuque. Dubuque closed. The last race, I think it was yesterday, but it might have been on Saturday. I'm not sure. So this will only leave 2 greyhound dog racing tracks left in the United States, and they're both in West Virginia, where they race dogs 5 days a week. Both tracks do. So a lot of people who are for greyhound racing would say stuff like, it brings about a lot of jobs. We're going to lose a lot of money. There's not going to be a lot of money for things that we need for the state. People will lose their jobs. And how could people who are racing the dogs, who are bringing them in money, they have to be caring for those dogs, right? But I have a lot of information here that I'm going to go over that tells you just the opposite. But I want to just say first that greyhounds are usually retired at 4 to 5 years old. Sometimes earlier if they get injured, which many do, and I'll talk about that too. But some of them they're just not good racers, right? So if a dog isn't bringing money in, that's it. They're out.
Mm-hmm.
Years ago, they used to just euthanize the dogs, or just or not feed them and just starve them to death, or throw them across, bring them in the back somewhere and let them die. I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
Now there's so many groups out there that go in to save these dogs, put the dogs in foster care. And I see people, and even in our neighborhood, walking around with these dogs. I usually stop to talk to them because I want to find out where these dogs came from. But let's see here. According to a report done by, and this is the group that helps the animals, it's called Grey, Grey, 2K, the number 2K USA, a Massachusetts-based nonprofit that advocates on the behalf of greyhounds and opposes dog racing, says that over 400 injuries occurred at the Iowa Greyhound Park in Dubuque, Iowa, between 2010 and 2019. Now, that's a lot of injuries, and I know for a fact that a lot of injuries do not get reported, right? So we don't even know about half of them. So here's some information. This is a fact question and answer kind of thing that the Humane Society of the United States has about these dog racing on their website. So aren't greyhounds used for racing well cared for? This is like the question.
Right.
This is what people are saying.
Or thinking.
Right. And this is their response. Racing greyhounds endure lives of confinement, are subject to standard practices that are cruel and suffer injuries and even death. Greyhounds used for racing are kept in cages barely large enough for them to stand up or turn around for up to 23 hours a day. Shredded paper or carpet remnants are used as bedding. So listen, these dogs, they want to get the most right out of the dog. So they're going to be using cheap things. They're not going to buying them deads and, squeaky toys. They want them to just, be there. From 2008 to 2018, more than 15,000 greyhound injuries have been documented nationwide. This is a notable underestimate since injuries do not have to be reported in either Alabama or Florida. So those are old numbers, but still.
Really?
Does greyhound racing contribute to the dog overpopulation? Yes.
Yeah,
historically, as many as 10,000 greyhounds have been bred annually. The racing industry exacerbates an overproduction of dogs, which simply displaces other homeless animals and diverts resources needed to address other animal welfare challenges, right? So these breeders of the greyhounds are just breeding dogs more and more and more because they want to breed the best racers, right? So out of 10 dogs, they might get one dog that's a good racer. So what are they doing with the other 10?
Other 9, yeah.
Other 9, right? Are they euthanizing them, or are they putting them up for adoption? And if they are being put up for adoption, then all the dogs in the shelter, where do they go, right? So it is contributing to the dog overpopulation in the United States, which a lot of people don't. And how does the American public feel about greyhound racing? They're really not happy about it.
Right.
That's why there's only 2 left, right? There used to be 60, and now there's only 2. There's a reason, and they went down quick. Most industries of that magnitude don't go down as fast. And I just want to thank all the animal advocates out there and the organizations, this one here that I have, Grey2K USA /worldwide. So they're also working in other places besides the United States to try to shut down this industry because it is a cruel industry. Listen, you don't need to go look at a dog racing around a track to gamble, but there's 2 left. So let's get rid of the last 2 in West Virginia.
Wow. What a great report, Wendy.
Thanks.
And totally, what a great show today. I want to thank Sierra for coming on and talking about all those opportunities here in the Twin Cities for work, for legitimate work, some career kind of stuff. I also want to read this real quick. Minnesota landowners are urged to contact the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission, PUC, about its proposal to set up an abandoned pipeline trust fund so that they or their heirs are not at risk with the new pipeline. Just great stuff here. We'll be back tomorrow. Thank you, Gina. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Wendy.
Free Leonard Peltier.
Hi, I'm Scott Shambot from Shambot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. We know dental anxiety.
I was going to try and talk to her. If she would send those out quicker, I could get them up there. But I didn't want to put that up while you were talking about something different.